Live on air. First, before we get on to the next topic, a couple of housekeeping things. Who's going to be around for dinner tonight? Or is anyone not going to join us for dinner?
Who's not going to be here for dinner?
Do we need an actual head count?
I think 19.
Okay, 19. And then where?
Well, I was going to go somewhere in like the old town. Like, I hate to be boring, but we went to the little Mexican restaurant last time. That good for people? Yeah. All right. I
think we can go to the ice cream place.
It's right next door, so that's.
Yeah.
I'll see. All right, I'll put the stuff up on the Etherpad, and that's all I need to know.
Okay. Yeah.
It's right around there, yeah.
And I'll point out, if anyone is interested, there tomorrow night and the night after, they're open if any companies want to contribute to feeding.
Right.
Otherwise, we're on our own.
I tried.
Yeah. All right. So next up on the agenda, the nested quota. So hopefully this is charged enough. Do you want to just pick it up at least?
So basically this and the next topic I just wanted to bring up because they were patches that were left when Ryan left the company, and I know that nested quota support still isn't completely done. I thought I had seen a few things in the mailing list or patches that somebody was working on them, but I just wanted to make sure it wasn't just getting dropped, basically, this and the next topic. So does anybody know any information?
I know there was a cross-project working group that was talking about quotas.
Okay. Was there?
Has there been anything on the mail?
But the quota from that, what I heard was, it's kind of, I don't say it's stuck, it's kind of slowly moving, right? So there's actually a cross project back, kind of about, it got started, but then it's not moving forward. And then Jay tried to do something Nova, but it's just what I not sure how fast it can move. And then
This code already exists, right?
yeah, the nested thing is already there, yeah. So
Right.
it's
So, I mean,
not the,
There's our quota stuff, but then there was an effort to try to do a library or a project or something so that
Project idea.
shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah.
There we go.
what about
the people who were talking about it, or a lot of people that talk about it.
the one with Jay?
So the issue is there's all the different projects doing quotas and we're all doing it in different ways.
Right.
Yeah, just on the mail list to quota management in Keystone, which is the craziest thing I've heard.
It's a
There's
central
been
place.
Keystone, there's been Oslo,
Yeah.
but, so the last of the conversation was stuck on, which I don't know why there was like so much pushback, but the team working on it wanted to be completely independent from OpenStack. Because they were like, no politics, just don't want to be part of Big Tent, nothing, we'll provide something, but we want to be outside of OpenStack. And that was the last of the conversation, because it was like, this doesn't make any sense, because your current audience is OpenStack.
Right.
No.
So for all we know, they are off doing this somewhere else.
I understand that Miguel is on the line,
Oh, is he?
because that's where the pushback was coming from, the pointing finger. What? That was where the pushback was coming from.
Somewhere else.
I have no problem with that, but your current audience, your current user is going to be open.
Yeah.
Well, that's the discussion we had and also about it was the amount of stuff that
Like a lot more over.
Yeah. Have to change the database, right? So we can really be complete.
So yeah, I would take a look at what Jay Pipes was doing because he was sort of involved with, or he was involved with the primary design of the library. So I imagine he's just going to somewhat put up code, and it'll probably be like a lot of initiatives where it starts in one project and then is going to be an adopted design on other projects. Unfortunately, I kind of feel like if Jay Pipes is going to do it, then it's not going to be starting off as a standalone library. It's going to start off as a Nova module, and then it'd have to once again be adapted into its own thing. But if that's the only people that are putting forth the work, then that's about all you can do.
So with Ryan,
So but this one is to add a function transfer.
Right.
We need it. We have the code there. We have function class
Yeah.
there next to Qutoas.
Well, yeah, then all we just talked about addresses.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, those are just adding
So-
test cases. Seems to be.
Yeah, I think he got basically everything else that he had worked on merged. I don't know if there was anything else that he had to do though. So I don't know if these merged is it good or?
So this feature, I think, had a bunch of fixes going into it a while ago, maybe by now, I forget.
Yeah,
Do we
yeah,
have a general idea of like the state of it now? Does anyone know?
I have no idea. That's kind of why I wanted to.
so
bring this up.
when I was right before Austin, when I was talking with Ryan.
Yeah.
They tested him out, and he actually seemed to have fixed a lot of the quota problems.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, that was all. It all looked pretty good. I haven't looked at it since then, to be honest.
It seems like it would be worth us reviewing the test patches here.
I think these are kind of cleanup, follow-on things that he wanted to do to just improve the stability of it. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's test edition.
Oh, yeah,
Right, yeah,
text.
they're both tests.
I guess one question is anyone interested in picking up
Yeah,
these patches
that's kind of what I was
specifically?
getting to.
There's some review comments that aren't addressed as well.
Right.
Well, you're going to be working in the community soon.
Wow.
That's what she said.
No, she didn't. That's what she said to you.
Yeah, so just.
So there's only one left from Ryan on the functional test and stuff.
There was another one in Tempest. This is just the single one.
And there's still an outstanding bug about double commits and quotas as well. I seem to remember seeing that recently. Not sure where it was.
Yeah, I did see that. The solid parts, yeah.
It seems like for these specifically, it'd be good to get them in, right?
Right,
Tests. I've got those. So how about the next person who talks owns this?
So,
Sounds like Sean.
yeah, I should try to take a look at where all those stand. So, I'll take a look.
It didn't look horribly broken or like,
Yeah.
there were some review comments, but I think maybe we just.
Yeah.
I'll put something on the weekly test meeting agenda.
Maybe some things that just.
Get them in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the second link here, was that the Tempest one?
Yeah. I think so.
And that's just- Yep, I'll figure it out. So, next, just go to the next.
So Sean, can I add one that is related to the quota?
Okay.
So I wonder, does it make sense to dynamically manage quota? Kind of like look at what you have in your total capacity, and then change quota dynamically instead of having the admin, go manually changing it all the time. Basically, admin could become a bottleneck. Does anyone think that? So right now, basically, I'm sorry?
Like a percentage?
Yeah, does that make sense? Yeah, so because right now the code is kind of you admin set it up ahead of time, right? But then your backend could change and then capacity changes. There's no, if the backend has to be changed frequently and then the admin becomes a bottleneck, basically you always have to be manually adjusting that? Or is there any?
The problem with that is the whole point of the quotas is to set limit quota on
A hard
resource.
limit?
Yeah. The percentage thing, the end user should never have any visibility of what percentage of that backend they're using, right? That would actually be dangerous if they did.
No, but if it's like automatic change, not like,
But
not
creating
like 10 doesn't go there.
percentage is the right thing to do because
Yeah.
if you've got like 100 terabyte array and you're giving them 10%, you then double that. You're just doubling the size of quotes that you've given them. They've not paid for that much, maybe it's in a certain environment, so you can't do.
Well,
But is that?
a single backend. Anyway.
Yeah, it's being useful in a private cloud scenario, but public, private, especially service providers.
I would say in the private cloud scenario,
The private is
that you're using it incorrectly. Because the whole point is to enable things like chargeback.
Because there's chargeback on private cloud as well as public cloud.
No, but
To do that, you have to write a Python script.
Write a script.
Yeah, it just goes and updates them to a percentage, like what you write back.
just using
Run
the
once a day, query your backend to see how much space there is.
Yeah,
and
I-
then-
using the existing quota APIs, you're saying? Just the update
Like,
quota?
I'm an admin, and I go double all my quotas.
Yeah.
Added twice as many,
Uh-huh.
But you might be adding those extra nodes because you've got more tenants coming in. You don't want to give your existing
Free.
tenants more space.
Yeah. I understand. Now, how is this, like, say, when we first started, start adding this quota thing, does Amazon have something similar to this or this quota thing? I mean, how does it get introduced into OpenStack? Is something coming from Amazon, or Amazon doesn't have this?
No, it's strictly to allow you to control how many resources somebody can use. One of the things that it protects you against is denial of service attacks. Now, certainly there are other ways you could do that, but
Just to be hacking and automatically create a lot of
so
volumes.
just going in and just writing a
Uh-huh.
script that says just create volumes forever. And just
Okay.
overload the whole system and just kill you.
Okay.
Right? So it's the feedback that I get is definitely not that it needs to be changed or that it needs to go away. The feedback that I get is it needs to actually work.
Yeah, that I got
Right
it.
now, it doesn't really work that well.
Okay.
But you could, I mean, to your idea, if you have somebody that wants to do that, it would be fairly trivial to write
Just
something
let it
out
script,
to
right?
do that. The other thing is as you upgrade or change the back end, you can just manually get it done. I mean, how often are you changing?
But it could be changing. It depends on the array, I guess. Sometimes it could be changing weekly.
You're doing something wrong.
Yeah, tricky too, if resources go away. Yeah.
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 Yeah, what do you do with the? Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to go on to the next volume test?
So this one I looked over a little bit before like putting it up here, and it looked like, John, you had comments on a new direction that this should head instead of the way that he was approaching it originally. I don't know how long ago that was, or if you remember what you were thinking. Um,
Formal. We like the LDR on this. Why are we doing this?
So the idea on this was it came out of a problem we were having with in our cloud setting on NetApp QoS, we had to have a minimum volume size of 10 gig, and there was no way of enforcing that easily, other than from the CLI. Other than we had to hack up code in our wrapper broker program to not allow people to do smaller volumes. So the idea that came out of it was to be able to add to the volume type the ability to set minimum creation size and maximum creation size for a volume type.
And this would just be for the manager to deal with the driver itself, right?
I mean, you could set that as an extra spec too.
Yeah.
So we'll
Right.
the end behavior being you get a nice error message saying like, favor volume, or that it's that it has to have.
It would be nice if nice error message. I think the goal would to make it obvious as to what went wrong.
I mean, the error would have to be caught in the scheduler, so that's asynchronous, right?
Yeah. Well,
The creation request will succeed, and the volume will go into the error state inevitably.
if it's on the type and you specify create a volume of this type, you can do that in the API.
Okay, you're right.
But if you like today, you could do like a driver filter function and prevent people from doing it on the back end, but you wouldn't get a nice asynchronous. Just like kind of do
We have a way to fix that we just landed and want to talk about it.
yeah, it's true.
We just need to start using it for stuff like this.
Why do we want this?
Because some clouds suck and they do stupid things.
I won't argue with that.
So my only concern about it would just be the inconsistencies that would be introducing in public clouds with their types.
I think it's put down to a documentation of the individual vendor's kit that you can't create something less than that size.
Well, this kind of fits the other discussion we had in Jing and the.
She brought this up too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
Kind of the
something
minimum.
similar. Yeah.
So you could use the volume type, it'd still be up to the admin to configure that, but. Well, shouldn't
Yeah, they talked
this-
about the
shouldn't this
the
fail
service.
in the driver right now? If you-
Yeah, it's possible that you could do
No,
this in
it's-
your individual driver.
So what happens right now is some drivers will, if you give it a size that it doesn't support, it will just go ahead and make it the size that they do support and just tell Cinder it's the size they asked.
But then quotas are wrong.
Yeah.
Quotas are wrong, the
That's
back
the
end
problem,
calculations are wrong, everything is wrong.
Who did that?
It's kind of
A
like,
couple people.
I mean, that's why I think the first fix for this should be that if you try to ask for a size and a capability thing that doesn't fit, the driver should just fail it.
Right. And so, so the first debate was, if you can't do what Cinder does, should you have a driver? Which we lost that battle, right? So that's out. So my comment on this was that this is probably a decent thing to add and have in, but I think it could be applied more generically, and that's what I was talking about with either a module or a utils file to do some more advanced type checking things before it gets to the scheduler, so that you don't just end up with a volume in an error state, and you do get a response back from the API. Because if you leave it to the scheduler, you're not going to get any feedback. You're just going to get
Yeah.
an error.
Which is not desirable.
I think that's exactly what we should, is we already have a lot of logic in there to fail requests and stuff.
Right.
And the way to fix the bad feedback is we need to start issuing the async error messages for what this failed to do that, and tweak the client to actually look at that.
And I-
That's the perfect case of what the features.
I'm game for that. That's fine. I mean,
It might be, well, see, I don't know if it's better than API or not, it might be, but we already do like 100 things like this.
All of the logic is in the scheduler, so it does make sense to let the scheduler do it. The only complaint has been the feedback loop, right? And if
Yeah.
we decide we finally want to fix that, then that'd be awesome. That'd be great. Crimea River.
So that's related to the service discovery. We were talking about that in Austin, I think. Thought this might be related to the service discovery thing. That yeah.
Completely opposed to you.
Let's do it as well.
That is, the spec is already merged.
I would not allow that here.
You were not by the service
I
discovery.
gave a huge rant at Cooper's about it, so
You're talking
there's a
about
lot of
the
people
same
here
thing?
that can recap it for you.
Did you see the spec that I'm talking about that got merged? I'm talking about the same thing. I just want to
The
make
spec
sure.
could be merged, it doesn't mean the code's gonna be
Okay.
merged.
Okay, I didn't.
So what is the change you're referring to, Eric?
Async error reporting.
Okay.
We have the ability to throw an error anywhere tied to a request ID. And all we have to do is tweak the client to, look at it and show it to them.
And nobody's implemented that in the client yet?
I think there's code up there that does it for some things, but I don't know if it does it for,
What's the one that you're talking about?
But this is such a huge usability thing that we need to drive it through, like, a lot of
I
our
don't know, I
features.
haven't read this.
Is Alex still working on that?
I don't know that anybody's actually doing much right now.
So
The features pretty much merged, right?
Yeah, it's there on the service line.
It's just that the server only has 2 or 3 errors that it actually generates.
I guess my question is, does it have to be anything crazy? Could we just, so anytime you set a volume to an error state, you also associate an error code or an error message with it. Done,
Yeah,
right?
that's pretty much all you have to
So we just need another column, right? I mean,
do. We have many columns, we just need to put that actually puts an entry.
we already have an error column?
Yeah, we landed all this stuff in the async error messages feature.
Yeah, the infrastructure's in place for the client
Alex
system.
Smith. The one Alex is working on, Alex Smith?
Yeah, I just pinged him, see if they're, that's in there, yeah, and like the first snippet of the working something.
Okay.
It was for one of
It's
the
in the client.
relatives.
Yeah.
And Horizon needs to pull that.
No.
It's in the client, right? We already have it.
So going back to the original, so we talked about the max, I understand why there would be a minimum requirement. I'm not quite sure why you would want to go max. We already control max volume creation given the capacity of the back end. Why would you want to limit max capacity of a volume? I understand the minimum, I don't understand why the use case would be for the max.
Yeah, I think it was a, okay, so we, I don't know, symmetry. It's like we have no,
But you can do max via the quota system.
yeah, through quotas,
So
so
you don't actually have to have that.
Yeah, that
Right.
makes sense. The max bit, I don't understand why we would need to, because there's already ways of doing it.
yeah, through max volume size in the quota.
So having it in here, you would allow you to just change it per volume type per bag using volume type. But
I think this is going to be a pretty rarely used feature, though. This doesn't sound like something.
Are the back-end specific limitations on max volume size or hypervisor limitations?
Yeah, the volume type would be an architectural limitation on the back end, not necessarily a quota.
So you're talking like.
Well, you can do quotas on volume types too, so.
So maybe simplify it, move it to the
It
scheduler.
seems to
only
be a
do
bit,
it.
there's too much in there. I think that's my opinion.
So make it min
Just
vol,
make them-
min
Yeah,
only,
just make it min.
and do it through the scheduler.
So I do apologise, my laptop crashed, so I dropped out for the beginning of the discussion. discussion. Why not on this discoverability? Or if I'm Trove or I'm a heat template or whatever, knowing what size volume I can actually create without creating one, passing an error message that might be translated into Chinese on some given system, and then trying to figure out what to do is a problem. So do we have, whatever the suggested solution is, do we have a way of programmatically telling what the minimum volume size actually is without having to pass an error message?
Yeah, so this is exactly why I think this is a horrible path to go down in the first place. So this is exactly why I think this is a wrong idea. I think that we, as a project, have done 1 gig increments. If your backend can't do 1 gig increments, you need to either A, figure out a way to make that work and fake it, or B, you need to document it, and your users and the people who use your cloud need to know that. And I don't really give a crap about, oh, my user's using a heat template and he or she doesn't know, blah, blah, blah. That's on you as the person that's providing that cloud and setting that up. It's not up to Cinder, or it shouldn't be. It's not wise to put in levers and knobs and adjustments and dials all over the place to try and compensate every single corner case and every single use case possible, because what you're going to end up with is a complete disaster. And you already basically do, which is the biggest problem. Yeah, exactly. the biggest thing that OpenStack has failed at is ease of use. It is not easy to use. The barrier to entry sucks. And we're talking here about making it even more difficult.
Should we adjust our mission statement?
So I'd go further than that, and I'd say if you're going to do that, you say any driver in Cinder must be able to score 1 gig increments, or bye-bye, and we put a Tempest test in for it. Because I think saying, oh, you just have to document it for your cloud is just breaking the OpenStack model. I mean, one of the things with the OpenStack model is a usable cloud. Having to go and read weird-ass documentation is just stupid. So we just say, that driver doesn't support what Cinder needs it to, bye-bye.
Well, the problem is with the Tempest tests for the drivers, and I won't name the name again, you ask for 1 gig and it says you have 1 gig, but you don't. You actually have 8. So
log into the instance and run block info or whatever it is on the device. And if it isn't 1 gig, then it's broken. It's a bug.
Aren't we already reporting total usage through the?
Yeah.
Like, so if it.
So we could figure it out.
You can do a cross check and.
Yeah, I mean, you just check to see if it.
You added more complexity back
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the driver handles it.
Yeah, no, I see your point, and that would work fine. My point is look, Scale.io does this, right? Fine, we'll quit pretending we don't know who it is. And frankly, good for them. I don't care. I mean, really, who?
I'd rather not enforce this.
Yeah.
That's just up to the users of that backend. So that's a limitation.
Yeah. Let the Scale.io customers can deal with it.
You're going to have a cloud, multiple backends. Your cloud administrator, to a certain extent, has to know what the backends and what their capabilities are. So that's part of that capability reporting, documentation of those backends, including we increment in 8s, or we increment in 16s, or the minimum has to be 10, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot more sense to do it that way.
I think so. I mean,
but how does the admin make sure that people actually do that thing?
So the admin actually has to earn their pay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sorry, but at some point, a cloud administrator or a deployer or somebody, they actually have to be worth something, right? And that something is when they're building this cloud, they have to understand what the difference is, what the challenge is, what the limitations are.
What the cloud is capable of doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just give your cloud out doing it to people and go, yeah, there you go, do it how you like me.
Are you willing?
Hey, look, here's the cloud.
Yeah, you have to put rules about it. Part of the rule set is when you're using this volume type, this is your incremental size, or this is your minimum.
Or be willing to accept that you're going to give more storage than what you're actually
You can
asking for.
screw quotas, or as an admin, you're going to get all calls from people going, why did this go wrong and I got the wrong source?
So my question is, in this maybe, not coming from a vendor perspective, or from a ops perspective. But from a customer perspective, are there customers using the cloud that have noticed this behavior and are pissed off about it and asking for it to be fixed? That's my question.
Any idea where that came from? Ryan just decided to implement this, or was there something that triggered?
No, it was because of an issue with setting QoS for the NetApp driver that required that you have a minimum of 10 gigabyte files.
Is this the software?
Yeah. Of course.
Right, and this is with the proportional QoS?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So the issue is, we get an enhancement at the behest of software to be able to set the QoS on a volume proportional to the size of the volume. Okay. So the bigger the volume, the more I you can get. Great. Problem is, if you make a 1 gig volume, QoS is so low, you can't move VM. Right? And so I think that's why you wanted to be minimum. You don't care about the size of the volume, you care about the QoS. It's not a driver bug necessarily, because we could do a multiplication pretty easily. But I think, Jay, let me work with you on a potential an idea I have to fix it.
Well, so, round and round, right? Look, the bottom line, as far as tying a size to a volume type, a minimum size, I think it's absolutely reasonable. There is absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. So I don't understand why we're arguing about this. What I'm saying is I don't think we need any reason to have fancy widgets and everything else in terms of querying services and seeing what they do.
Oh.
An admin sets up the type and says, hey, this is the back end.
Oh.
This type points to, and this is the minimum size.
I was very confused because it's like you have to do your job, and it's like, well, I've looked up the value, I know what it is. So you don't argue with the minimum. Being able to say, hey, this is the smallest volume you can create. You're concerned about doing all the querying and getting the data.
I'm concerned about all the crazy crap everybody wants to introduce around everything else with levers and knobs and widgets and shit, right? I mean, I think keep it simple. Put that information in the type. Use the scheduler probably to figure it out, and move on.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm quite against that. Sorry, John.
I know.
For the heat template or the Trove use case, it's just broken. You create a volume and it doesn't come up, and you've got no way of telling how or why programmatically. People normally use clouds programmatically. They don't sit there typing cinder create at the command line. Most people drive their cloud via automation. So if your automation can't figure out what your cloud can and can't do, your cloud is buggered.
No, because that's documentation. You provide documentation to the people who are writing heat templates that says this is the minimum size.
But no, because the heat templates aren't custom written per cloud. They just aren't. The whole app store for the cloud thing is coming in. Customers love it.
So
I'm only aware of one public cloud that provides heat, by the way. I've worked with 18 different of them, so I'm just saying. But
so I know several that are desperately trying.
But hold on. So I think there might be a miscommunication here, right? So one thing to keep in mind is if you set that, what you could do if you want, in that type you set a size. If you don't like the whole idea of it errors if you give it the wrong size, fine, no problem. Allow a config option that says adjust size, allow adjust size true, okay? And then when Cinder gets it, if you say create a volume of that type, let Cinder go ahead and adjust the size if it needs to. But make damn sure that it reflects that data correctly in the database and against the quotas and everything else. Is that reasonable?
Okay, I have a slightly different suggestion. We have a quota mechanism and a quota query. Make it just a volume type quota. Minimum size as a volume type quota. We already have a query mechanism for that. We already pull it in the scheduler. You get exactly the same functionality with the discoverability.
I don't understand how you say that at all. So if you set, first of all, quotas typically don't have a minimum associated with them. They have a max. So if you did go off the rails and do a minimum for quotas, have fun explaining that to everybody. So you tell me I now have a volume type XYZ of 1 gig. It's going to fail because that quota check, right?
Well, you add a quota check that says, for this type, you can have per volume type quotas already. So you have a quota that is for that volume type, the minimum size.
It doesn't solve the problem. It makes the problem worse.
Why? It gives you the identical result. Rather than storing it in the volume type itself, where you can't query it as a tenant, store it in the quota table where you can. You enforce it exactly the same.
But by your argument of what you didn't like earlier, you said cloud users don't use things by hand. They don't do query the quotas. They use heat.
But I can write a heat template or whatever that does where it's important. You can actually programmatically fix it. You just query the quota for this user. I've seen scripting that does that already. It's not difficult to write an API. There's an API call already to say, tell me my quotas.
I see zero value in that.
I kind of feel like that if the volume type has, if we set it in the volume type and the admin sets it in the volume type and doesn't clearly explain that in the description of the volume type, that is a problem with the cloud.
But the volume type description is free text. You can't parse it programmatically. That's the problem. So you can never write a script that just says spin me up a database in the cloud with mirrored volumes and all that sort of nice stuff, because you never know if your volume crate's going to work. By volume?
Sorry, Duncan, we lost you for a little bit, unless we just lost you again.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think this is done.
Anybody disagree with that? The volume type description does not. It's with every other problem that we have with volume types today.
I think that's fine. Or the other thing is, like I said, just adjust the damn size. I don't give a shit, right? I mean, put it in there and adjust it. Either way, I'm fine with either one. Exactly.
Yeah. So if you can't accept it below that, then when you're setting the default for it.
Error and adjust, or report fail. Either one.
There you go, boss man. Got conflict. So.
Yeah, it seems weird to me to put it in quotas. Yeah, right. Okay. I guess I'm leaning towards this now. If we can just do the minimum.
Do we want to do a maximum as well?
No.
I agree that that's redundant.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives you finer grained control potentially, but I can see making it more complicated.
I know we're all about, but
Yay, convolution.
yay, convolution.
So the remote sound seems to be dropping out a lot.
Duncan, are you there?
I'm here, I can't hear you guys. Mostly.
But you just answered my question.
Yeah, I can hear you when you're loud, but the sound link keeps dropping.
Oh, yeah, that's because it ran out of batteries. But, yeah. Yeah, and the microphone is right by me, so. It probably doesn't need to be by us. We're pretty loud, so. Here, I'll put it right next to Shane. I know, but you're quiet. So.
You are quiet. You have to be.
And then an extension from this is looking at how we get good error messages asynchronously hashed.
I think that's only in API, but we don't know how to do that from the schedule yet. I mean, that's the last time.
That was all there.
But not through the scheduler though. It's right now it's only the API you can do that. We were having, I think we talked about it last time.
But we could add it. I mean,
Could add it?
Yeah, it's just a couple of lines in the
Okay.
in the filter scheduler where it comes back with the no valid host. You would just capture that reason and just put it in there.
I thought we already did that in the schedule.
It may already be there. I don't know.
Is it? I didn't see it. I was just in the code recently. But that'll be good.
I'll put it on my to-do list to go catch. I like it. I've looked at it before.
It doesn't. I don't see it in there. But oh wait.
It was
Yeah.
not. I was
Yeah,
there
I
a
don't
few
see it
days
in there,
ago.
but
it's not there definitely.
should be trivial.
Okay, because it seems to be another issue when we talked about it last time. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe he was just making it harder than it needs to be. Or maybe he's right and I'm wrong. But I would think we could. So here. Actually, I'm still not convinced. I'm not completely sure it's not there yet. So it's,
I was just modifying that code a few days ago. Unless it's at a different spot, not in the filter, or a different spot.
what are you looking? I'm looking to see if they're storing the error for. So when you schedule in the scheduling fails and you set the volume to an error status, we were logging the error information column in the database for that volume, so that somebody could then go.
Don't we have some of the scheduler stuff in Taskflow as well?
Gosh, no. Taskflow.
I'm just saying, though. I think that's what you're looking for.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
They tend to create volume flow.
Yeah.
This message from.
So you're correct. Yes.
So.
Yeah, because there's like a Cinder scheduler flows create volume.
Yeah, no, I know about that. I didn't know that the.
Not in the flow. Is it?
Well, but the task flow gets the response back in the exception back from the scheduler. Now the question is there anything useful in that exception?
I just saw like no value.
They'll notify topic payload.
I mean, I'm looking at the exceptions throughout the scheduler. There is one that we landed already.
Anyway, I mean, it sounds like it works, right? It sounds like we can put this. So who wants to write it? Eric, I'm looking at you.
And he's looking out in the distance.
And as soon as you said that, I started trying to figure out what that meant. It's part of what needs to be written.
The API is to actually query an error-stated resource and it failed.
I think that already exists.
Right. It's the async error reporting.
It's just that the client doesn't do it yet.
That's what I mean.
The APIs are there.
Yeah, that's what I mean, is writing it, merging something into the client to do. I'll write it.
The client already picks up what exists right now. There's already the plumbing in the client to do async error retrieval or whatever Alex need merged in. They merged in sort of one simple case. I forget what it was, and it's.
You guys are killing me. You know.
It records it, and this client can retrieve it.
Well, there's a big patch for the client.
Just talking on
merge.
Oh, okay. Client's not merged.
So somebody just put it on my list to go look at this.
Where's your list?
I would be happy to go figure out this.
Who's your assistant?
Who's taking notes? Can you put a note for
So no, there is nothing in the client right now that exposes that. Now, whether there is some code in the client to help with it, fine. But the current client does not have
Yeah, there's
a command patch.
the big patch is still not merged. That's up in the so. But I don't really know how much that patch has been driven right now, so.
You happen to have that?
299 It's on the piece of it.
Oh.
Oh.
Going on Friday, we just follow through and get it done.
Which one?
This one's dependent on another patch that's been kind of out there for a bit. Well, it's noon. Do we want to break for lunch now, or should we go? Sounds good. Yeah. Seems like folks need a break. Okay, let's break for lunch. Try to make it an hour. Back here at 1. So, yeah, how do we all gather up?